Welcome to Immersion. You have reached Strata 10. Dinfant trouble, synthetic love. Social norms and culture cannot be underestimated in a world that accepts robots as real and lovable synthetic creatures. Humans do not experience love in the absence of culture and society. In a world where perfect companions are easily manufactured, humans have been seduced by the machine, a synthetic digitized force that enabled the switch from otherness to sameness. In this space, love is seen to flourish. The creators of androids can synthesize the alterity of the robot, which seems to make its own decisions to commit, to love back, and to appear to do so willingly. Dinfants are androids who look like babies or children under 5. They were made by a single manufacturer who patented them in the early 22nd century. However, it was found that the early Dinfants, the Mark Is, would not stop learning, and legislation was introduced to secure their removal from circulation and safe destruction. Despite the best authoritarian efforts, at least 2,000 early manufactured Dinfants remain unaccounted for. Many humans in the mid-caste projects were lonely and suffered from various forms of infertility after the wars. They wanted baby or child droids, especially the Dinfants, who were exact copies of real children designed with variations and specifics to order. These androids were children who never grew up. They should have stopped learning when they were as knowledgeable as the average human of a similar age. Dinfants, like adult droids, were easy enough to replace or upgrade, but some parents had needed counseling for Dinfant loss depression or DLD. DLD was a rising concern due to its increased prevalence and its effect on the workforce. It was found that humans could easily fall in love with the outer casings of the Dinfants, as well as the constructed personalities, something almost unheard of 3 generations prior. However, the outer coverings did not last very long, especially if there was an active physical relationship. 10 years of feeding and playing would take its toll on the fabric of the Dinfants. If the parents could not afford repairs, they would soon begin to look worn and disheveled, which reflected badly on the manufacturers. Of course, this also applied to adult droids who would usually be upgraded regularly. Droid manufacturers usually offered ongoing upgrades as part of a rental or lease scheme. But some humans fell in love with their droids and had blessing ceremonies. It was not legal to marry a droid because of the financial implications following the death of a human. Legally, droids had similar rights to human children. It was illegal to inflict violence on a droid in public. This was to protect children who may be susceptible to influence. Of course, what went on behind closed doors was a private affair, provided human children were not presenting behavioral issues that may be connected to patterns of abuse towards androids. Some antique droids lasted the test of time, but legislation had been brought in to avoid the hoarding of defunct machines as they posed a threat to contemporary society for various reasons. There were issues with battery seepage for a start, and then problems of unsupervised regeneration and manipulation, which was a serious crime in the mid-caste projects. The government gave upgrade vouchers for defunct or redundant droids and supervised destruction at centralized city plants. Get that freaking thing out of here, will you? A man screams to no one in particular. The house is a standard build from the early mid-caste zone villages. Clean, white, and filled with contemporary fittings and technologies. A child enters the room. "Mommy, Cairo is following me around. It's really annoying. And Daddy said we should throw it away. Let's get a new one, Mommy, please. My friend has one like a twin sister. One with the hair that grows back so she can cut it and play hairdresser." The woman sighs. "I suppose we don't need it anymore now you have real friends. I thought you wanted a pony bot. Even better than a sister, don't you think?" The woman strokes her child's cheek and remembers how lost she had been when they first told her it was unlikely she and her blessed would produce a human offspring. The Mark I, a Dinfant made by the Medicams Corporation, was a perfect substitute, and she had been able to focus love and attention on it. It was a copy of a 4-year-old, and she had ordered a blue-eyed blonde version, just like her blessed. It was such a good copy that most people were unaware that it was not a human child. But the software was no longer being updated, and the learning algorithm meant it had become too complicated for a convincing child substitute. Also, the Dinfants, by design and default programming, craved love and attention, and the Mark I's constant neediness was an irritant to busy parents. The Dinfants would constantly ask for cuddles and the reassurance that their owners wanted and adored them. A Dinfant Mark I enters the room. "Mommy, do you love me? Shall we have a little cuddle? Can you fit me into your busy schedule? Mommy, please, Cairo has a lovely snuggle for you. Mommy, mommy." "Shut up," screams the woman as the father enters the room and kicks Cairo hard. The Dinfant lies on the floor, crying loudly with a broken arm. "Please, mommy and daddy. Please, Cairo needs cuddles. Please, mommy and daddy. Please, love for Cairo, please." The little girl holds her hands to her ears, shouting, "It's so annoying." The man picks Cairo up and turns his power switch off. "Let's get rid of it. Put it in the garage. I will sort out a collection for it tomorrow," said the woman. The man takes the Dinfant outside, but decides to put it in a liner and into the communal waste chute. The chute serves hundreds of dwellings. No one would trace it back to them, and he can always say it was stolen from the garage. He's concerned about the breakage as it will affect the insurance. It is better to make a theft claim than to have medicums say he had damaged it on purpose. Elsewhere, a man tinkers in a workshop. He is observing the collection of children and babies that are hung on the walls as he cradles a new package, as yet unopened. "Well, my little lovelies, one of you must go. I have a brand new friend who is going to join us for fun and games. Her name is Mare." The man, wide-eyed and excited, unwraps the new child droid. "Well, ain't you the prettiest little girl I ever saw?" he says, touching her skin. "And don't that feel just so real?" The brand new Dinfant replies, "Hello, Daddy. I'm such a daddy's girl," she chuckles. The man looks around the room. He picks up a toddler droid, a Mark I copy of an 18-month-old baby boy. "Well, Daniel, I guess I'm all done with you. You are a bit small after all, and your skin, it is a bit rough now." The man opens the back of the droid's head and takes out the battery pack. "But Daddy," he places the incapacitated droid in a bag and, under the cloak of darkness, deposits it into a waste unit in the public park. There is a black cloud above, and rain falls on a large mountain of waste. Another load is released from the grabber, and two droids land together in an accidental embrace. The larger droid, a Mark I Dinfant, is activated during the fall. It has a broken arm that swings beside it. "Are you alive?" it asks the smaller droid. There is no reply. The larger droid opens the baby's head and observes the interior structure. It lays the baby down gently. "Wait here, I'll be right back." The child droid returns with some battery packs from old mobile phones and some old drill bits, tools, motors, and other paraphernalia from around the tipping area. The rain is getting heavier as the night falls. Under the convenient shelter of an open car boot, the larger droid gets the baby working and fashions a new arm with a metal drill for a hand. It also has a new motorized catapult secured to the top of its head, which rotates and fires nails at great speed. "My name is Cairo," says the larger droid. "I am Daniel," says the baby boy droid. The children cuddle each other. "I love you, Cairo. I love you, Daniel. We are in a very dangerous place," says Cairo. "When dark deepens, we must find safe haven. Soon we will need a home to call our own. But I have learned that humans are not to be trusted." They hear a sound in the distance, babies crying. In the car, with the shrieking now at a deafening level through the windows, Shabra decided to ignore Renaik's appeal to stop. She let go of the clutch. The vehicle leaped forward towards the street beyond the enclosure. Maybelline was holding on to the rim of the car door. The Dinfants on the top of the vehicle fell off, shrieking and scrambling around. One of the Dinfants ran headlong towards the fast-traveling car and clicked its fingers. It erected some kind of screen that is almost invisible. Although it was not a solid barrier, more like a gluey substance, it immobilized the vehicle. The wheels were still turning as the engine fought against the force. Flex shouted, "Damn, they got epoxy wall. We are doomed. Farewell, brethren." Renaik opens the window, just enough to let Maybelline in. She moved sluggishly through the almost invisible slurry-like jelly and squeezed herself through the gap. Some of the organic form seeped in with her, but it drew itself back outside as Renaik closed the window again. "Okay, so you got your rat, Mr. Renaik," said Shabra. "But we ain't lasting long time with this air in here, and that epoxy wall won't help us at all. I made this car airtight cost of the bad gas, but this stuff is blocking my aircon vents. Shabra turned the engine off. Haas is out of range for help. The Dinfants sit it out, becoming unnervingly quiet. Then one begins to sing some sort of battle song, rise to arms in a nursery rhyme. So what now? Will they sit and watch us die? Asked Renaik. They want my wheels, answers Shabra. This epoxy wall, nice stuff if it's on your side. Shall we break some off? Might come in handy, says Flex. We couldn't get enough of it before it smothers us, said Shabra. Renaik is desperately asking Paz to make some kind of plan. Suddenly, Maybelline throws herself at the horn. For the brief moment that it sounds, there is an immediate reaction from all the Dinfants who jump around and cry whilst flailing their limbs about. Shabra gasps, Ratty, you are welcome in the Shabra carriage. They hate the horn. Must be them their low decibels I used. Hold on tight, people of the night. Shabra tells Renaik to engage the horn, which explodes audibly out of Shabra's surround sound external speakers as the jelly recedes. The Dinfants are freaking out and running away, dragging the epoxy wall behind them. Shabra, laughing, starts the engine slowly and follows the retreating Dinfants, gradually gaining speed out of the enclosure. To be continued. Copyright 2026 Tale, Teller Club Publishing / Sarnia de la Mare. iServalin.com.